Welcome to A Seeking Heart with Allison Gingras. We're having a special episode today with a friend of mine, Ann DeSantis, and we're going to talk about a beautiful Eucharistic summit that she is working on that I have been blessed to be a part of. She's so gracious because I'm one of those people who says, I'll do it, I'll do it. And then I took forever because of life, and she just made it possible for me to be a part of it. And I'm just so grateful because the Eucharist is everything, right? It's everything about our Catholic faith. And this is the 3 years of the National Eucharistic Revival. And I want the whole world to be on fire to know that, as I said in my little piece for the Eucharistic Summit, that the Eucharist is not a what, it is a who, and it is Jesus, body, blood, soul, and divinity. But we're here to talk with Anne today. So, Anne, tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then I'd love to know more about the Eucharistic Summit.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for your kind words about the summit and also about us working together on your piece of it. So that was just an honor for me to work with you, and it is an honor. And so I'm a wife and a mother. I reside in the suburbs outside of Philadelphia, and I have two adult daughters. I was a homeschooling mom for a very long time. And now I am the executive director for a nonprofit. It's a Catholic nonprofit. We were formed through a religious order. For those of you who are familiar with some of the different religious orders, it's the Mercedarians. It's a little bit of a smaller religious order compared to some. I'm also a third order member of that community as well, which is such a blessing. But I'm the executive director for the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith, where we make pastoral outreach to families in crisis, individuals and families who have gone through some kind of adversities and challenges, which I believe all of us in some way have
Yeah.
all gone through stuff, haven't we?
Yeah.
And so that's what I do for a living. And it's my honor to be a part of this beautiful Eucharistic Summit. Admittedly, this is really the work of three different nonprofits. So, not just myself, not just St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation, but also another one called Patchwork Heart Ministry. And the founder is Bill Snyder. In fact, Bill and I do a podcast together. It's called the Sowing Hope Podcast. I believe, Allison, you were even a guest on that a couple years ago, if I'm
Many,
correct.
many years ago. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
remember
Lovely.
that. So Bill Snyder and myself, and then another group called Fiat Ministry Network. Some of you who are on Facebook, you might be connected somehow to Fiat Ministry Network. They have great programming. And if you're not connected, please do go and like the page. So the founder there is Kent Kolhosky, and also another good friend of mine who works for Kent. Her name is Jennifer Sinclair, and she does a lot of our editing and things for my program because I have my own show called Journeys in Faith. And so, in fact, Allison's going to be a guest on my show coming up pretty soon. So
I
I'm
know, excited in
looking forward to
December.
that
I
as
I
well.
can't wait to come talk about encountering signs of faith. And you are a very busy woman. I love how you just opened your heart and surrendered to God, and you just go wherever he sends you, and you do what he asks, and you do it so, so beautifully. So
Thank you.
thank you for sharing your gifts and your talents, because there's so many stories and messages and needs that people have, and I don't know if they all realize that the Catholic Church has so many beautiful outlets and support systems and orders and foundations and ministries and apostolates that can really play such a beautiful, important part in their lives. So that is a lot of incredible people coming together, and I will have links to all of the places and that Anne just mentioned in the show notes, and of course in the comments in below if you're watching here on Facebook. So why a Eucharistic summit?
Well, exactly what you said. It's a 3-year period of time in the United States and beyond, where we're really trying to unpack the beauty of the Holy Eucharist so that all of us can really honor the Lord in that way, because really he's present with us. And
Mhm.
I know you and I, Allison, just taped something else for the Eucharistic Summit, and you talked about that it's not a what, it's a who. And that's really what it's all about for us. We
Yeah.
came together as these three nonprofits that I just said, Patchwork Heart Ministry, Fiat Ministry Network, and the St. Raymond Donatus Foundation to do this summit. Our headline speaker is Bishop William Byrne, who is the bishop in Springfield, Massachusetts. So we're
Love him.
extremely honored to have Bishop Byrne be our, main featured speaker for this event. We also have wonderful speakers, including yourself, Allison. We're so blessed to have you, and more than 20 other speakers. I mean, for me to list all of them would take probably a while, but I can tell you that someone like Gary Zemak is also one of our speakers, and Bill Snyder, the founder of Patchwork Heart Ministry. We have two Mercedarian priests who are from the religious order that I represent, which is Father Daniel Bowen and Father James Mayer. They will also be speakers. And there's just so many other people.
Did I see
Yeah.
Mother Claire? Does Mother
Yes,
Claire?
Mother Claire is going to be one of our speakers as well. So we're extremely excited about that.
We
To
just
have a
had her.
combination of religious
Yeah.
people and then also lay people.
We just had her as a guest, and it was, one of those moments where the devil, he can't get at your heart, so he decided to attack our technology, but
Oh,
it worked out perfectly because I couldn't hear her, so I had to stop talking. And the podcast was all her beautiful wisdom, her new children's book, mystery series, and the vocations and finding just the good. So anyway, I'm excited to hear what she has to say about the Eucharist. I was pretty excited to hear anything she had to say when I listened back to the podcast after not.
totally agree. Yeah, she was a guest on my show, Journeys in Faith, and such an honor to have her on that program. And then, of course, being part of the summit.
That's
Just
wonderful.
beautiful.
So the summit is a virtual event, correct? December 6th, 7th, and 8th. Tell us a little bit of the setup and how will it work?
Yeah, the way that it works basically, it's a 3-evening online. It's not an in-person event. So it is an online summit. It's going to be on vimeo.com for the initial premiere. And that Vimeo is something like a YouTube, but a little bit different. So if you don't have Vimeo, just download the app and it's easy for you to get, or just go online. But we'll have the links. We're going to have those links. But basically, you just need to register. That's all it is. It's December 6th, 7th, and 8th from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern time every day of those 3 days. Now, we're also later on, we are going to put it on social media. So you'll be able to watch it after the fact too. But it would be great for you to be registered to see it live, to be able to watch it as it comes on. And you would just need to go to my website for the foundation I represent, and that is nonatus.org. It's spelled NONNATUS.org. Just go there. Right on the front homepage there is a button that you can register. And like I said, it's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. So or even just Google St. Raymond Donatus Foundation. You go to our website, you'll be able to register.
And again, we'll have all those links in the show notes and in wherever this video is being showcased. So I know that you're talking about it being live, but it's recorded. So is there any way to interact? Will there be people like, can the audience interact while they're viewing these? How will that work?
Yeah, the way that it works, admittedly, it is a pre-recorded event, but it will premiere as a live
Okay.
event that's going to come right onto Vimeo. People can interact a little bit on the chat at the bottom there underneath. And even if you miss it, like I said, you will be able to watch it later. But do try to register, because at least you will be getting all those email updates and email blasts about what's going to be happening, the speakers, and just anything relevant to this. And it's great too, because we're going to stay in touch. We're going to stay in
Yeah.
touch because this whole process of getting to know Jesus and the Eucharist better, this is a 3-year event for the entire United States and beyond. So we really want to make this not just a once and done. This is really a way for all of us to get closer to Christ in the body, blood, soul, and divinity of the Holy Eucharist.
And I love email reminders. Like I always have the best intentions of coming to everything I sign up for. But if it wasn't for the email reminder of, hey, by the way, that thing you signed up for a month ago, it's happening right now, I probably would never show up to anything without my calendar reminders or those great emails. And again, we'll have the link to where you can register for that. It's called the Eucharistic Summit, Sowing Hope into Broken Hearts. So why that title, Anne? I love that. And I know that the sewing has to do the Sewing Hope podcast, but tell us about this title.
Well, we came up with the title. Obviously, it is the tagline for Patchwork Heart Ministry, where Bill Snyder is the founder. It is Patchwork Heart Ministry, sewing hope into broken hearts. It was my idea. I talked to Bill. I said, listen, this summit is not just geared for it's geared for anyone. I would say you're watching this, you're invited. Please do join us. But we want to especially make pastoral outreach to those people who have gone through some type of adversity crisis, which I really think is all of us. All of us have gone through
So,
something that's affected us and our soul, our spirit, our families, our parents, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors. I mean, everybody's gone through something. So we want to make that outreach to them, people who really need to feel that some kind of an encouragement to come back to Mass, an encouragement to honor the Eucharist. God loves you and he's inviting you to love him back. And that's really what the Holy Eucharist part of it is all about, isn't it?
yes, and I would love to know, and how do you how do you see the Eucharist as being uh, this healing ointment, this way of healing the broken heart? How do you see the Eucharist as an agent for that? As
Well, thank you for that question. The title of my talk, because I actually have a talk for the summit, and my talk is an invitation, the Holy
nice.
Eucharist. The Eucharist is Jesus is inviting us. He's inviting us to be healed. Now, let's just for 1 second, let's examine what does that mean to be healed? Does it mean that if I'm sick with some ailment, or if I have a relative that has a emotional disorder or something, or someone has cancer, does it mean that he's going to take his wand and just make things perfect?
No.
Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that. But the way that we're healed is through that relationship that we have with him. And the invitation that he gives us is to love and serve. That is where healing comes. Healing
Beautiful.
comes when we decide that we want to be part of the solution of our world. And that is to loving and caring for everyone, and also loving and caring for the marginalized. That's a book title that I wrote myself. But loving and caring for the marginalized and people who don't have the love and support they deserve, that's a way that we're healed. We're healed when we say to Jesus, yes, I want to be part of that solution. I want to be a Eucharistic person, and I want to be part of the human family, not just the Catholic family, the human family. Because when we're Eucharistic people, we're out there, we're helping everybody. We're making a difference for everyone inside and outside the Catholic Church.
Yeah, we
So
become Jesus's hands and feet, and we know
that's
that
right.
the Eucharist is uh, the greatest love, uh, symbol of love that we really have in this world right now. That Jesus died and he rose and he suffered for us. And as Fulton Sheen says, if that wasn't enough, then he remains with us in this in the host, and he says this the greatest love story is found in this little white host. I'm
Mm,
terrible at quoting things, but it's somewhere out there. You can find the exact quote, but it's good enough to understand that this is love, like that Jesus himself, God, we know is love. John tells us that in the Gospels. And we encounter that love, that Eucharistic love through the Blessed Sacrament. And we who consume it, we who sit and adore it, are then transformed by it. And we're called to go out and be Jesus's hands and feet. And I'm so excited for this summit, and especially your talk, to be able to kind of start to internalize ourselves on how we can take this head knowledge and put it into action. These things that we're going to learn, and maybe we already know, but we don't think to take it that next step and turn it into action. This is a very exciting uh, thing that you are bringing out in this Eucharistic summit.
thank you so very much. Yeah, it's exciting for us because it's really what God's calling us to do. Because you've heard, I think a lot of maybe your audience has heard that there's been studies over the years, especially a specific Pew study, that less than 30% or something of people believe in the real presence in the Eucharist. So now is the time to let people know that Jesus hasn't left us. It's not just a piece of bread. It's not a symbol. This is Christ. This is him being present to us right here and right now. And we can learn to imitate him. We can learn to be like him, walk like him. But part of that is by taking him into ourselves.
Yeah.
When we put our hands out and we say amen, or if you receive on the tongue, we're saying, I believe. I believe, and you're saying yes to serving as well.
It's
And that's what
beautiful.
it's all about.
And that Pew study was 28% of practicing Catholics do not believe it is the true presence, or only 28%, excuse me, believe that it's the true presence of Jesus' body, blood, soul, and divinity. That means I'm not good at math, but quite a few more. So it's 62 more percent believe that it's a symbol. And I'm
Mhm.
sure the summit will have somebody that's going to talk about John 6, that's going to show all the evidence that we find biblically, that we find through the scholars, that we find through Jesus himself, that it's not a symbol. His words himself tell us, nope, I mean this. I mean, I'm giving you my body and my blood, but we're not cannibalists. We are Catholics, and that's okay. Like, anyway, there's so much to be talked about this. So I'm going to invite everybody over to the Eucharistic Summit. Tell us one more time and where and how we can participate.
To go to the website for the foundation, which is nonatus.org, NONNATUS.org. Or if you go to, just Google the word St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation, it'll take you right to the website, and then you can register on the homepage.
And that will be December 6th, 7th, and 8th if you want to participate live, and then available afterwards. But I think being there live, regardless of whether you're there that night or you receive it later, make sure you register so you don't miss any of it. And DeSantis, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
And thank you. Thank you to your audience too. God bless.
You have been listening to A Seeking Heart with Allison Gingras. God bless.